Hello, everyone. I'm just looking around at everyone's beautiful faces. Such lovely beings I've met here. And this is why we come here every year. It's because of everyone who arrives to share and to be in presence with one another. There's a kind of magic there that can't happen any other way. So it just fills me with joy. Day 4, we have amazing speakers again, of course, and events for you. Just a couple of technical details first. If you are listening online, our talk this morning is going to be in English. So if you need translation, again, click the world symbol at the bottom of your screen and choose your language of choice. I also recommend you click the option of mute original audio. It's going to give you a better sound experience. For those of you here who are listening into the translators, please turn your video off. It saves bandwidth for us so that our internet can work properly for all of us to hear what our speakers are sharing. So those are the technical details. Now I just have such great joy to introduce this magnificent being next to me, Rakhi Chari. You might know her from her YouTube channel, the Breatharian Yogini. She's been documenting her life and her process and sharing wisdom with us for quite a number of years now. And she's just, I can't speak highly enough of this woman. Thank you so much, Rakhi, for joining us this morning. I'm looking forward to what you share with us today. Thank you.
Morgan. Thank you so much, Morgan. So good morning, everyone. I wanted to thank Nicholas, Rafaela, all the technical people that make this happen, all the interpreters, all the speakers that come here to speak, and all of you guys that come here to be a part of the festival. I just love the innocence, the purity, the sincerity with which you guys all come to be part of this process. If you're part of it, or you're interested in it, I just love that energy that you guys all bring. And so this festival would not be possible without all of those things together, including you guys as well. So I want to appreciate and thank you guys all for being here. And so, yes, I'll continue now with my presentation. My name is Rakhi Chari, and I'm also have a Rumble channel and a YouTube channel, and I'm known as Breatharian Yogini on there. So I have been documenting from the time I started my first process all the way until now. And this month is going to be 6 months that I have. This month is going to be 6 years that I have finished. I have finished 6 years this month on the Breatharian path. So for the 6 years, I have not had any solid food. And so I just want to let you guys know that before I embarked on this path, I was a very mainstream person, not spiritual at all, didn't know much about spirituality. So what a journey it has been these past 6 years. So I'm just going to highlight each of the years that has happened, the highlights of each year. And then on the 6th year, which is this year, I'm going to go more into detail about what has happened to me. And the reason why I do this is because when I started on this path, I didn't know of anybody that was documenting their journey. And so I didn't know if what I was going through was okay or not okay, and if it was normal or not normal. And so I was a little confused. And so I said, well, you know what? When I start on this path, I'm going to document it. So that would help people coming along the path in in the past, and if they come along on this path, they'll know what to expect. Is what I
Rakhi, I'm gonna also, I forgot to mention, please speak very slowly for the interpreters.
Okay.
And if you can make a pause
Okay.
after a sentence or two, they'll catch up.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, so I decided that I'm going to document my journey to help those coming after me. I realize the pranic journey is unique for each person, highlighting our own individuality. Yet it also reveals a common ground, reflecting our shared community, which meaning our shared humanity. So my journey may be unique to me, and your journey obviously will be unique to you, but there's a shared common ground that we will share because of our shared humanity. So the first year, my first year was the start of significant physical changes. Physical cleansing that was taking place was very evident. One word that would describe my first year is loss. There's a lot of things that I lost. I lost my weight. I lost my hair. I lost my clothes because they no longer fit me. These are clothes that I had for a while I might have been attached to, but they didn't fit me any longer. Um, I lost friends that did not resonate with what I was doing. And ultimately, I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. So that was my first year. So getting through the first year, I went on to the second year. And second year was focused on emotional changes. So emotional changes took center stage. It was a start of emotional cleansing for me. I dealt with loneliness, and a part of me felt isolated from the world because if you don't eat, there's a sense of loneliness because everyone around you is eating and you do feel isolated. So that was what I was going through. But at the same time, I learned to navigate life's challenges with compassion and love, realizing that we don't have much control over how others treat us, but we have control over how we treat others. So I learned to always come from a place of love because any other way would not support the Breatharian way. That is the only way, is to come from love. So that was my second year of figuring out how do I come from. So I came from love. So my third year was, like I mentioned, I wasn't spiritual at all. So my third year was my spiritual awakening. I experienced supernatural events that blew my mind away, such as energy coming into my body, taking control over my body, like I was a vehicle and took control over my body. And not just one time, but a few times. Taking control over my body, some energy going into my brain, adjusting my brain, going into my throat, into my heart, expanding my heart, into my belly button, and all kinds of stuff like that. So there was all kinds of weird supernatural experiences that happened to me that scared the living daylights out of me. I was like, what the hell is going on? It was almost like a cosmic upgrade or like a cosmic surgery, because after what they finished doing to me, I felt so much better. They meaning the energy. I began to realize that there is something more out there than our five senses, something more than our 3D world that we live in. I began to understand that I am not my body. My body is working on autopilot, which gave me the utmost respect for the human body because it's always trying to take care of us and it's on autopilot 24 hours a day. It's trying to take care of us. So that brings me to the fourth year. Now, the fourth year, the highlight of the fourth year was that I began to see energy, energy that I could never see before. I could see the aura around plants, the aura around trees, and even people. And speaking of energy, I use my energy to move objects, also known as telekinesis. So that was the highlight of my fourth year, was seeing energy and manipulating energy. That brings us to year number 5. Year number 5, I delved deeper into my practice and I started urine therapy around that time. Now keep in mind, I had learned about urine therapy my first year. It took me until my 5th year to start practicing it. Because I was so brainwashed about urine that it took me that long to accept it. I heard it from multiple sources. And then I said, you know what? There is something to urine. Urine is our perfect medicine. So, practicing urine therapy allowed me to get deeper into my breatharian journey. And now that takes us to the 6th year, which is I'll be done with my 6th year in this month, end of this month. So this is the 6th year. And there are 3 significant things that have happened to me this year, which I would like to share with you and go more into detail, because this is probably what, if you have been following me, this is probably something you have not heard. The other stuff you probably have heard me say over and over and over again. So let me go into my 6th year. 6th year was, I was hit with YouTube censoring my videos. So over the last year, they have censored 4 of my videos. Now I've been banned. Those videos have been banned from YouTube. 2 of the videos were on MMS. So I got scared. I said, "Oh my God, they're banning my videos." So if they have a certain policy, like if you put the video up longer, then they'll give you a strike and then they'll remove your channel. So I got a little scared, and I then started self censoring. So, any other video that I had on MMS, I took it out myself because I didn't want to be banned. So then I thought I was safe, right? I took all the videos off on MMS and now I'm safe. So the next thing you know, they banned my urine therapy video. And I was like, shucks. Now I have to take out all the videos that I have done on urine therapy. So I started self censoring again. And then I did a video on my videos being banned, and they banned that video. And they gave me a strike. So I had only one more chance. I was like, oh my God. But, anyways, I kind of knew the trajectory. So I parallelly have all my videos on Rumble. So even if they ban me, I'm on Rumble. That is just to ensure that people can see my content, including the videos that are banned on YouTube are on Rumble. So I felt bad when they banned my videos. Later, when they banned my ability to upload videos, it's one thing to ban my videos, but they banned my ability to upload videos. I felt like they took away my ability to express myself. For me, it was equivalent to book burning. I wondered why they banned me. Weren't there other people out there with a bigger audience? Weren't there other people out there with a bigger reach? Why did they ban me? Then it dawned on me that they had already banned those people, and I had watched their videos being banned. I had watched their YouTube channels being deleted. So now they were coming after people like me. This made it almost like a badge of honor to have my videos banned. Because I thought that I must be right over the target. And that's why they want to silence me. Why else would they ban my videos? This also made me think about a famous saying from World War II. First, they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unions, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Anyways, this goes to show that tyranny comes in different forms. In the past, they would physically take you away to silence you. In this digital age, with the click of a button, they can silence you. That was one of the big things that happened. The second thing that happened during my 6th year is some of you may know that I do a 3.5 day dry fast once a quarter. But in my 6th year, I started doing longer fasts. I started doing 5 day dry fast. And I was almost doing a longer dry fast every month. Whenever I do a long dry fast, I feel like there's certain blockages within my body it gets removed. And my body becomes cleaner and cleaner. Every extended dry fast I undertake seems to clear another blockage, allowing me to interact with the world in a more intuitive way with fewer triggers. So if people are negative towards me, it doesn't stick. And if it does stick, it doesn't stick for very long. All right, so that was a longer dry fast. And now the third thing is I began to tap into intuition, which is something that I think we all have. But I think being on the Breatharian path makes it even more powerful. And I think we may all have it, but we may not listen to it. But when on my 6th year, I started listening to it. So some might call it psychic abilities. Others might call it communicating with your higher self. And still others might call it communicating with your spirit guides. Whatever you want to call it, I have never been able to do these things that I've been able to do. And only in my 6th year did I notice that I was beginning to sense more things. And I want to give you specific examples of what I'm talking about to make it more clear. So intuition and sensitivity. So I remember there was a couple of times I went to Machu Picchu. And if any of you have been to Machu Picchu, they always say there's this vortex, there's this energy there, right? So the first time I went, I was like, okay, whatever. I don't feel anything. The second time I went, went as a part of the Breatharian retreat. And there were people there, they were very sensitive, and they're like, oh, wow, we can feel this and feel that. And I was like, okay, I can't feel anything. You know, there's like, oh, the vortex is here. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. But this summer, like this spring, I went to Utah in the US, the state called Utah, and they have these red rock mountains and red formations everywhere. And I went there and boy, did I feel the energy there. And I was like, wow, this is the first time I'm feeling this kind of energy. And so that was a shift for me because before I couldn't sense that. So now the second thing, which was really trippy for me, I have a friend who runs ultra marathons. So this is a story, short story. I'll make it short. But this is talking about my intuition. So, anyways, he runs these ultra marathons. So he went to go run this ultra marathon, and I was lying in bed. And at 7:11 in the morning, I had this feeling in my heart that he just finished the marathon or was just about to finish the marathon, like just about to cross the finish line or just cross the finish line at 7:11. And I was like, okay, that can't be true. Like, okay, I don't know. And then later on that morning when I saw him, I asked him, what time did you finish your marathon? And I didn't tell him about my experience about 7-Eleven or anything. I said, what time did you finish your marathon? And he said, he calculated, and he goes, yeah, at 7-Eleven. It's like, no way. That, sorry, that blew me away. I was like, okay, that's really weird. Like, how did I know when he finished his marathon? That was weird, right? It's like almost I went into some different zone and figured it out. Like, I don't know. So that's another example. Let me give you a few more examples. I was going to call a friend, and then something told me, don't call him right now because he's on a phone call and he's talking to his sister. So I didn't call him. And then as soon as he was done with his call with his sister, he called me and he says, now, and he says, oh, I was just on a call with my sister and the call was really intense. And I was like, I knew you were on a call with your sister because I had this feeling. So it's like tapping into that. I don't know where that's coming from, but I'm tapping into that, you know. And I'll give you two more examples just to kind of round it out. Okay. So the other example was my friend and I were going to have a get together and call all the friends over. So I had sent everyone a reminder. I had sent everyone an invitation to come over, and they all said they were going to come over. And then the day before the get together, I sent everyone a reminder again just to make sure everyone was going to come. And they all confirmed that they were coming. So the day of the get together, I get this gut feeling that one of the friends is not going to come. And he won't come because of some reason. And he will come if I send him a message right now. So then I send him a message. I was like, hey, so and so, I'm really looking forward to seeing you this afternoon, whatever. And then I left it at that. And then he comes to the get together and he says, you know what? I wouldn't have been able to make it to the get together had you not sent me that message because I had screwed up my whole plans. I thought it was in the evening and da 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 da. So, anyways, so that gut feeling, I followed it and, you know, he came because of that. Okay. And the last example is I had this premonition, not, I don't know if it's a premonition, but I had a feeling. I was going to buy a train ticket to go visit my mom. And the train would arrive at 1 p.m. So my mom had a friend visiting her, and she was going to leave. I had a flight out at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I thought if I arrive there at 1, it's all good, right? But then something told me, just wait, don't book your ticket. So I said, okay. And I waited in the morning. My mom calls me in the morning and she tells me that, you know what, there was some power outage. So my friend's not leaving until 1 o'clock. So I said, oh, well, it's a good thing I didn't book my ticket. So anyway, so I ended up booking it later. But so those are just things that are very prominent for this year for me, tapping into these things because those things I haven't been able to tap into in the past. And so those are significant things that the 6th year has been for me. And these experiences are my steps to greater awareness and tuning into subtle energies and guidance that we get. And I think we all have the guidance, but I think when you're on the Breatharian path, you're able to listen to the guidance more. And some people may be spiritually gifted and they may be gifted to do that, but I wasn't one of them. So it required me to be on this path for 6 years to get in tune to that. So anyways, the Breatharian path has allowed me to clear blockages and open up to these insights that I get. And I look forward to more profound experiences as I continue on this journey. And I want to thank you guys all for following my journey and supporting me and allowing me to grow and transform. So thank you so much for being here and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakhi. Always such a pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to get up on stage with you. Your authenticity and your presence is always such a joy for me. We're going to take questions now.
I had asked Rocky what superpower she'd like to have, and she didn't answer. She was holding out that she already had a superpower in telekinesis. Can you tell how that evolved? Was that something you were seeking or just came to you? I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's a great question. So the telekinesis thing, I had like a dream. And in that dream, if I remember correctly, there was a chair that was rocking. And I was like, that's weird. There's no window there. How is that chair rocking? And then something or whatever told me that you're making it rock. And I was like, no, how can I make it rock? And there's like, yeah, you can do it. And so I think that was my guidance to say, why don't you try it? And so I said, well, then I looked online about telekinesis. I didn't have any idea about telekinesis. And then I looked online and I said, oh, there's such a thing. And then I started practicing. And then, that's how I don't. Yeah. Thank you.
That was actually the same question that Jerome had for you. Thanks, Jerome. Do we have any other questions for Rakhi at this time? Yeah, Vivian.
Thank you, Rakhi, for your presence here.
Thank you.
Could you please tell us what was the beginning of your journey? Why did you start it not to eat solid food?
Great question. I was always into health and wellness. And so I would make sure that I would eat all the right vegetables and get all the right nutrition and take all the right supplements. And then I realized that they're poisoning our food. There's like food is all GMO. And then I realized our water has all kinds of stuff in it. Then I realized our air is polluted. And I was like, oh my God. And then I saw an interview online that said that you can live without food. And I thought, wow, can you really? Then I don't have to worry about the supplements. I don't have to worry about what I'm taking in. I don't have to worry about any of that. It's a sense of freedom and liberation. Like, I can do that. So I just went crazy. I was like, let me look into this even more. And so I did. And then I said, well, I need to do this. If it's possible, then why not? So that's what, yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions from our audience here? Yeah.
Hi, Ragi. Thank you
Hi.
for your presentation.
you.
I'm on the 21-day process here now with Nicolas. And could you say like in the summary, how your intake of liquids changed within the 6 years? And the amount and which kind of liquids you intake and how you dealt with addictions?
In my the liquids, of course, in the beginning was heavy liquids. Well, not right in the beginning because I wanted to give myself some time to be on light liquids. But then as I continued, I said, okay, I need a little heavier liquids. So I was on heavier liquids. And then slowly over time, those things didn't sit well in my stomach. And it was just a natural evolution. It wasn't so much of like, okay, I have to do this. It was more of a natural evolution of that. Then it didn't sit well with me. And I was like, okay, I don't want that. Okay, let's try this. And so it became lighter and lighter and lighter. Yeah. So that's how it, and addiction to food. Yeah. In my thing, it's like, I mean, I feel like the addiction to food is just, food is an addiction. And it's so easy to hide because everyone's doing it and you can just do it, right? So yeah, and how I dealt with it. Well, how I dealt with cravings, maybe. Yeah. Okay. How I dealt with cravings was I would smell it. I would, yeah, but in the beginning it was difficult. So I found a way to do it without actually putting it inside my stomach. So I would put it in my mouth, chew it, and then spit it out. Yeah. And I've done a video on that because I have this like soft spot for pizza. And I was like traveling and there's like pizza like everywhere. I was like, God, they're making it so difficult. Like, why is there pizza everywhere? So then I went to this pizza parlor in the morning when nobody was there because, I didn't want everyone to see what I was going to do, right? So I went there when nobody was there. I ordered this like I don't know if it was a large or maybe a medium pizza or something. I ordered a pizza and I took my little, I know I didn't take a cup or anything, but I was like, okay, so I was going to chew it and spit it out. So I sat there and there were some people around and I videotaped this on my YouTube channel. I sat there and I ate the pizza and I spat it out. So that's one of the ways that I dealt with it, because for me, it was that, my mouth wanted to taste it. My body didn't want it. So I gave it both, right? I tasted it, but I didn't give it to my body. I spat it out. So it was like I was satisfying it. It was like, okay, it's okay. But that's not for everyone. I mean, it works for me. It's an individual path for everyone, right? So what works for me may not work for others. So it's a very individual path. Yeah.
So can you give an example of what you consume in a day at this time?
Yeah. Juice, nut milk. Yeah. Those kinds of things. Yeah. And occasionally smoothies. And if I'm with my mom, she likes to make soup for me, but I tell her not to make soup because it becomes too heavy for me. So yeah. Yeah.
Thank you to be here.
Thank you.
My English is not really good, but I think I've heard that you said you lost your hair. Is it because the change, you changed your way of eating, or because you were in kind of illness or something?
No, when you come on the Breatharian path, that's the natural thing that happens to most women that I have spoken to as they start losing their hair. And that's because a lot of changes are going on within your body. So your hair just starts falling off. And I was to the point where I was like, oh my God, I don't have any hair. I'm going bald, and then I decided to cut my hair just so it didn't look so weird that I didn't have any hair. So yeah. But then once your body, because you also lose a lot of weight as well, and you lose hair, and it's like your whole body's kind of going for a toss in a way, because it's recalibrating to the new lifestyle. So it's going through its own changes. So it took me about a year to finally stabilize my weight and my hair to kind of grow back. But it takes some time for that to happen. Yeah.
So we can't be afraid of change. Yeah,
Yes.
on this journey. We have another question.
Hi, Rakhi.
Hello.
Nice to meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
I would like to say that it is very wonderful the sensation that you have about your uh, sixth sense.
I didn't understand.
It's a sixth sense that you have, so
Yeah, yeah.
you're very strong, and I hope that we all can have the same sensation. But my question to you about the sexuality, how does it really feel or affect your sexuality in general?
So the question is how.
The question, we've finally arrived at this question. How has the pranic process or the pranic journey for you affected your sexuality?
Good question. Well, it went away. Like, yeah, it went away. It's like, okay, well, it's not there. And I was like, okay, well, but then again, just like my hair went away, my whole sexual feelings went away, then my hair came back and then everything else comes back too. So it's all a flow, you go with the flow. So yeah, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes. Yeah.
So we have another question here.
I haven't noticed my hair changing, but I've noticed my fingernails don't grow as much. Did you experience that?
If the fingernails don't grow as much? No, no, I didn't have an issue with my fingernails. It's just my hair and my sexuality and my my weight and my clothes and my friends and my identity. Nothing else. That's all.
We have another question here.
Thank you, Rakhi, for your presentation. It resonated a lot to me. I had a question about Shivambu. I wanted to know, how did you come onto that topic? What was the reason? Was it for self-healing purposes, or what triggered you to start with Shivambu?
And for those of you who don't know what Shivambu is, it's urine therapy.
Okay. Well, as you guys know, that I was posting on my YouTube channel and I was talking about I get so hungry. I don't know what to do. Like I was posting on my YouTube channel, and then someone said, "Why didn't you try urine therapy?" And the moment I heard that, I just started laughing because I thought they were joking. Honest to God, I didn't know there was such a thing as urine therapy. And I even left a message saying, "Ha ha ha, you made my day." Like I just started laughing. And then later on, someone says, "Try Shivambu to curb your hunger." And I was like, "Shivambu, what is that?" And I was like, "Urine therapy? What are these people doing? Why are they drinking their urine? That's crazy." And I just put it off. I'm like, "That's crazy. I can never do that." And then someone else said, "You should really look into urine therapy." And I'm like, "What is with these people in urine therapy?" And then more people. And then there's this doctor that I really respect. His name is Dr. Group. And he was interviewing someone or being interviewed, and he was talking about urine therapy and all the benefits and how it's your own perfect medicine and how people are getting cured with all kinds of problems that nothing else can cure them with. And they're getting cured by urine therapy. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then I was like, okay, I need to try this. And I told my friend, I said, okay, tomorrow I'm going to try urine therapy. And I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? So what I did was I have to get used to urine, right? So what I did is I took urine and I said, okay, now I have this urine. Now what do I do? And I took a tub or something and I poured it in the like a small tub and I poured it in there and then I soaked my feet in it. I'm like, okay, at least I can get used to it that way, you know? So I soaked my feet into it. I was like, okay, it's not so bad. It's warm, you know? And then the next day, because I wanted to like progress quickly, right? So the next day I said, I'm going to put it in my hair. And so I took the urine and I soaked my feet also. And then I took a little bit of urine because I had urine later on. And then I poured it on my hair. Of course, you know what? Fresh urine doesn't smell. I mean, if your diet is light, you know. So I poured it on my hair and it was warm, and you didn't even feel that there was water going on your hair because it's the same temperature as you. I was like, oh, okay, this urine is here, you know. I was like, okay, I did that, and I was like, okay, this is not so bad. This is not so bad. I can get used to this. And then I'm like, okay, now tomorrow I'm gonna have to put 1 drop of urine in my mouth. I have to progress, right? So then in the morning, I took a dropper bottle and I took some urine and I put 1 drop in my mouth. I was like almost gonna gag. Like I was like, okay, I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. It's like warm. Okay, I'm like, but I can't do more than 1 drop. That's it. 1 drop. That's it. And I stopped at 1 drop, and then the next day I did 2, then 3, and then before you knew it, I was drinking the whole thing in the morning. You know, and then before you knew it, I was looping it. You know. If you don't know what looping is, basically you drink all your urine. And I was looping it and I was like, okay, well, and then, you know, my hair became a little bit like better. My skin became a little bit better. And I was like, well, there are some benefits to urine therapy. Not that I had any health issue, but I had this hunger issue being on the breatharian path. That's what people were telling me, that have your own urine and that'll curb your hunger issue that you're having. And so it did. And so, yeah, that's what brought me on to urine therapy. Yeah.
We have another question here from online. Can you talk about what you do to pass the time when you have dry days? What are some things you do to occupy your mind so that it doesn't get in the way?
Okay. So the dry days, especially if you're going to do like a 5-day dry, boredom can set in. So, I mean, what I do is I have a set of things that I need to accomplish. So I say, okay, these are things I need to do, and these are things. And then there'll be some time for relaxation. Then I take some time for relaxation. Then I take time for walking and being out in nature. Because when you're doing an extended dry fast, your body is craving nature and craving the air. So I take that time out to go out and be with nature. And also a lot of meditation. It's time for yourself these 5 days. So you take time to meditate, be with yourself. And I don't watch movies, but I know people that watch movies and watch sitcoms and all that to pass the time. And I think the best way to pass time is to sleep. That's the best thing you can do because your body is recuperating, it's regenerating. And what better thing to do is to just sleep and allow the body to do what it wants to do. So I think sleep is like the best way to pass time.
Another question here is, what do you feel blocks most people from their intuition? It could be interpreted as, what do you feel blocked you the most from your intuition?
I think people are not sensitive enough to catch that intuition. It's just, I think the Breatharian path makes you more sensitive. And so it's just some kind of, oh, okay, yeah, you don't really pay attention to it. But I think when you're on the path, it's a stronger feeling of intuition you get. So I think the strength of that voice is stronger than otherwise. I mean, for me, I know that there are a lot of people out there that are naturally gifted and intuitive, but I wasn't one of those. Yeah.
We have another question here.
What were the biggest emotional challenges you faced along it? What were the biggest emotional challenges you faced along your pathway along those years?
Okay. So the biggest emotional challenges I faced, I didn't really have too many emotional challenges that I faced. My main thing was just dealing with hunger. And maybe I wasn't in tune to what emotional things were causing that hunger, so I don't really know, but yeah. But doing the longer dry fast, for example, let me give you an example of how dry fasting clears you up like that. I forever and ever and ever never wanted to step foot into a kitchen because of the way I was raised. I would never cook. I would never do any of that because I just had an aversion to that based on the way I was raised. So I never cooked. And so then I went on a 7-day dry fast. And after the 7 days, all I wanted to do was cook. I just kept cooking and cooking and cooking, and I enjoyed cooking. So I don't know what that block was. Like, had I gone to therapy to figure out why I didn't want to cook? it would have taken like years and so much money to try to figure that out, and I would have never resolved it. But a 7-day dry fast just wiped it out. I didn't have that emotional thing about not cooking. It was just gone. It disappeared. And I don't even know really, I didn't even deal with the emotional trauma. I just dealt with the 7-day dry fast that I had to deal with.
So there's another question from online, and I'm not going to presume to ask you what age you are unless you want to offer that up. But somebody wants to know if you have a methodology or a mode for how you're keeping yourself so young.
I think the Breatharian path does it. I am 54 years old, so, and the Breatharian, but the Breatharian path, I think, does it. I think it keeps you young. I remember that when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, I used to have joint pain. So I was like, oh, my knees are hurting. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't run on the treadmill. But after my Breatharian path, I started doing 10K runs. I did a half marathon, and I didn't have, I could have never dreamt of doing that had I not been on the Breatharian path. So it keeps you younger. I think urine therapy also helps. And I think the thing that I was banned on YouTube for, MMS, is a game changer. So, yeah.
Thank you, Rakhi. Let's do, there's another question. Okay, there's a question. What is MMS? Let's see if we can get this video banned.
MMS is coffin nails to the pharmaceutical industry. What really?
She said MMS is coffin nails to the pharmaceutical industry.
If more people knew about MMS, if more people took MMS, we would not have the sick care system that we have now. I don't like to call it a healthcare system because it really is a sick care system. But if people took MMS, then they can heal themselves. And what is MMS? MMS is chlorine dioxide. And so basically it goes and cleans up your body. And I think that is the reason why I was able to come on this path and not have any problems. Like sometimes when people come on this path, they go off this path, they come on this path, they go off this path, they come. But for me, I went on this path and didn't get off the path. You know why? And I credit that to MMS because I had detoxed my body so much with MMS before coming on this path that I didn't have any issues. Like I didn't have any issues on this path. Yeah.
Thank you, Rakhi. I think we have time for one more question. Is there any from the audience here? Otherwise, I'll take one from online. Okay. Another great question was, what made you continue on the path even while your hair was falling out? What was the certainty that you had in your heart?
Yeah, it was just a belief that I can get through this. After losing everything, like my friends and like everything I lost my identity. And I said, no, I'm going to make it through this. And then I made it through it the first year. And then I thought, you know what? I saw some benefits my first year and I said, let me continue my second year. And then of course there was no looking back, but it was just some conviction in my heart that this way is possible, that I could do it. If it can be done, then I can do it, is what was my thing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rakhi, for joining us here again at the Pranic World Festival. You're a light, in this world, and you share with such authenticity and joy and presence that it's just a gift to all of us here and all of those watching from around the world as well. Thank you so much, Rakhi.
Thank you.